Hi everyone, and welcome to this new topic. We're looking at Unit 41 for higher, or Unit 44 if you're doing Foundation. This is the stuff that we're doing whilst we're in school. So if you're in school between now and the end of the term, then you don't need to do this lesson. If you're not able to make it in school for whatever reason, then this is the stuff that they're learning, so you're not going to miss out. This first lesson is all about repeated percentage change. In terms of picking a topic to teach while we're in school, I've deliberately picked this one because it's on both schemes of work, both for higher and foundation. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at repeated percentage change, compound measures in terms of speed, more compound measures with density and pressure, and then direct and inverse proportion. So specifically, we're going to start off on topic 1, looking at compound interest and depreciation. So if we're going to be successful at this particular topic, we need to be able to use multipliers when we're doing percentages. I've done loads of these with starters, so hopefully you're fairly confident already. But we're going to look at increasing and decreasing by certain percentages. So at this point, I would suggest that you pause the video, have a go at the ones that are on the board and see how you do. Answers will appear shortly. Okay, and so if we can start looking through these answers then, so the first one, increasing by 12%, we would do 75 multiplied by 1.12. So the two digits of my percentage are the two digits after the decimal point here. Decreasing by 16%, so we start off with our 64, 16%. If you take that away from 100%, you're left with 84%. So we're doing 64 multiplied by 84%. Next one, 1.04. So one of the areas that you might make a mistake on is by putting 1.4 here. This is not 40%, but 4 hundredths, 4 out of 100. And then increasing by 5% and a further 6%, I do it as two separate multiplications, like this, and then finally decreasing by two things. So 0.9 is 10% away from 100%, and 0.75 is 25% away from 100%. Now, if we're going to do some repeated percentage change, we're going to be able to calculate our new amount by starting out with the original amount, timesing it by a multiplier, like we've just seen, but to a number of years. So we're going to use a power, and we're going to use the power to represent the number of years. It just means that we're doing this multiplier several times. Okay, so it'll be fairly straightforward when we crack on with some examples. You'll see compound interest is a perfectly good example of doing this. Compound interest is where you get interest at the first year and you get a new balance at the end of that first year. And then the next year's interest is based on not what you started with, but what you've now got. So it's like interest on top of the interest. If we were going to calculate the answer to this, so 500, 3% a year for 4 years, you would do new amount is your original times your percentage multiplied to the power of n, where n is the number of years. So 500 times 1.03 to the power of 4. 1.03 because it's your 3%, 4 because it's your 4 years. Be careful when you're rounding, it is money, so we're rounding to 2 decimal places, so take extra care there and make sure you just leave it to 2 and not round into the nearest 10p or something like that. Second example, £100 in a bank for 24 years and you paid 4% interest per year. How much would you have? So again, I'm going to set it out using the same formula. 100 times 1.04 to the power of 24. Type it in your calculator, get yourself an answer and round it. The other times when we're going to see our repeated percentage changes, so if we're increasing, we're looking at interest. The other times we might see it are if we are doing depreciation. So depreciation is when it loses value. So in this case, we're losing 12% of the value each year. So we set up in exactly the same way. 12% decrease, remember, is 0.88 as my multiplier. So you've got 12,000 times 0.88 to the power of 7, because you've got 7 years. You're doing this 7 times. Get yourself an answer, do it on your calculator, round it to make sure that you've got it to the nearest pence. And here's the first set of questions for you to have a go at. So again, at this point, pause the video, give it a go. We've got a little bit of a discussion point to be made here in terms of how you're going to do it, but we can talk about that in a second. Okay, so hopefully you've had a go at these questions by now, and I will reveal what the answers are. So for the first one, you're going to do 500 times 1.04 to the power of 3, get yourself a value. I'll reveal all of these answers. I'm going to do them all in the same way. It's your starting amount, 1 point, and then whatever your interest percentage is, so 1.06, 1.02, 1.04, 1.025, and then your powers are your years. So hopefully you should get these answers. Now, for the next one, you're probably not going to be able to find something that gets to exactly 2000. And so in class, what we've recommended you do is give this a go and you try and just pick some numbers. So do it on trial and error basis, pick a value. If you get to 14, 14 is a little bit under. 15 is over 2000. So by which year would you have made £2,000? It would be in the 15th year. And for the last one, again, a little bit of trial and error, you will get to the value of 4. Next set of questions for you to try. So in this particular table, these are all depreciation ones, so these are all going down, these are reductions. I've added an algebra one in just to kind of mix it up a little bit. And these ones are the first time that we get below 1,000 and below 8,000. So again, pause the video, give it a go, see how you get on. Okay, so first one, we've got our answer. So we're going to do 219,000 times by 0.94. So remember, it's 6% away from 100%. 0.94 to the power of 7. And so on. This one, when we're starting to calculate it, we are trying to do a little bit of trial and error, working out our values. You're going to get 6. I'll come back to the algebra one in a second. Again, a little bit of trial and error. First time you get below 8,000 is when you get to 4 years. And for this one, you can't just type it in your calculator, so you need to think about what's happening. If your depreciation is 20%, it means you're timesing by 0.8. You're doing that twice, so 0.8 times 0.8 is 0.64. So you'll do 0.64 multiplied by whatever your x value is, or 0.64x. Okay, hopefully you've done well on these questions. What I would suggest that you do is, if you got any of these wrong, just go back over, check your calculations. You might have got a decimal point in the wrong place, you might have missed a 0 out or put an extra 0 in, if it's looking similar. Okay, in order to consolidate this work a little bit extra, I'm going to set some work on Dr. Frost for you to carry on practicing. Hopefully it's a fairly straightforward topic. Read the questions carefully, specifically the exam questions about whether you need to be increasing or decreasing. Otherwise, use the formula, pop it into your calculator and keep your fingers crossed you're going to get the right answer. Okay, so if I'm going to see you soon, I'll see you soon, and if not, look after yourself. Bye!